The '01 Honda Accord. It's got the f23a engine in it, and this is just an update on what's going on here. I put pistons in it and rings and ball honed it, put it all back together, and these two cylinders did not come back. They have more than 20% leak down. This cylinder has about 10% leak down, and this cylinder here is just about perfect. It's about 6%, and that's kind of how it was before I replaced the pistons and put rings in it. These were the worst ones, and those over there were good. So anyway, we've got about 1,000 miles on new rings and the hone job, and those two cylinders aren't coming back. The blow-by is so bad that it blew out the rear main seal, and it's leaking oil everywhere, and I just about got tired of that. So I'm going to pull the engine and replace it with a JDM engine from Japan, low mileage, less than 60,000 mile motor. And that was the easiest, cheapest way to do things. So, about to pull this guy out. I just wanted to make a note about this motor mount on the transmission. This motor mount will not come out straight up. This transmission mount here, okay? So what you do is you get the bolts and stack the nuts, stack them on the bolt like that, and take them out real slow so you don't pull the thread, because it's been in that aluminum for a long time. And if you get too big of a hurry, you'll mess it up. But anyway, what I'm going to do is take this mount out. I'm going to take these bolts off, clear this mount out of the way. And while I have this mount out, I'm going to cut the bottom of these two brackets here with a slot. On this side, there's another bolt over there on that side, okay? I'm going to slot those so that if I have to do this again, I can just loosen these two bolts up, one on this side, one on that side, and take this one out and just slide that mount out of there so that I don't have to do all this again. And that'll make it a little easier. Okay, that's it. That's all we're doing. The rest of this deal is simple. I took the entire wiring harness off. I took the alternator off. It's the air conditioner up there. I'm kind of going to pull it straight up at an angle, pretty tight angle. This is what the injectors look like when you get these off. You have to pinch them on both sides. It has a little tab on each side that holds it in. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but that's what it looks like. If you don't squeeze both of those in, it's not going to come up. And that's just kind of what a bunch of these connectors look like. You know, I removed the entire harness. This is the harness that goes up into the intake manifold. It's got that funny little plug. Of course, let's see, this is the oil pressure sensor. Okay, that plug came apart. And then, oh, there's the knock sensor. The knock sensor was just hanging there. So, I knew that it was messed up already and I was going to replace it, just hadn't got around to doing that yet. But yep, that's what it looks like. It's a fragile little guy. Alternator, same old deal. I taped the end up because I didn't have the battery off yet. But yep, that's the alternator plug. These are all the plugs for the transmission. If you're worried about where they go and how they go, take pictures before you take it off, because there's a bunch of them, okay? We'll make a note also about some of these sensors on the transmission. That sensor right there from Honda costs a couple $100. Alright? When you break that sensor, you're not going to be happy. You can get them off Amazon cheap, you know, like 25, 30 bucks or something. All these little sensors and solenoids on this transmission are very expensive. If you're worried about popping any of these, breaking them, you can't do this without breaking them. Take them off. It's much easier to put O-rings on and figure out where they go than it is to replace these sensors, because they're very expensive. There's one there on top. That one always gets busted. So anyway, just a few notes about what's going on. This is the JDM engine that I got. It's a single overhead cam, black valve cover. It's not the engine swap one, not the tricked out one. This is just a stock replacement for what I've got. This is how it comes, okay? It's got the injectors, and they cut the wiring harness and all that stuff off, but the intake is on, the exhaust is on. It doesn't come with an air conditioner. It did have a power steering pump and an alternator. Alternator was a little different, but it's no big deal. But that's kind of how it goes. It's got the distributor on it. This one was in a automatic car. It's an automatic transmission flywheel. So just make sure you check those kind of things out when you get it, because if you need to change the flywheel, it's easier to do it now, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. Sorry, it's all upside down, but this is what a JDM engine looks like. I think the number is just a little bit different. I think mine's an A1. This is an f23a. And mine is an f23a1. I don't remember what the difference is, but it's a VTEC motor. I think the version of it is maybe a little different, but it's not different enough for it to matter on this application. All right, man, take it easy.